I met with a client this week, and one of her kids has started refusing to eat pasta with the sauce, and they only want it plain without the sauce. And so we were troubleshooting what to do in this situation. And I know that this is something that a lot of parents struggle with. So let me know if you're a parent whose child only wants to eat the pasta and not the sauce, or sometimes it's rice and not anything mixed into it. I've got one of the things that I help families with is getting back to putting sauce with the pasta. So we set up exactly how we set this expectation up with her child so that they don't have a massive meltdown right before the meal, because that's not going to be helpful to anybody. And springing something like this change on a child right before a meal, especially if it's at dinner when they're tired and they're probably quite hungry, it's just not going to go well for anybody. So the way we troubleshooted this is coming up with how to explain the expectation to the child at a different time, so not right before the meal, how to communicate it with them, like what language to use, and then also how to further the exposure when it's time to actually put the sauce with the pasta. And there are varying ways that we can do that. And Mum was like, so do I do this every time? And my answer was yes, it needs to be consistent, that the quote unquote rule is that the pasta comes with the sauce. And she said, even though the kid sees that like the pasta is cooked separately, and this was the example that I gave. I'm here with all my raw veggies, but I'm actually also here. I've got a raw chicken that is defrosting in my sink. And just because that's out here doesn't mean I'm going to allow my children to eat that when it's uncooked and raw and, there's a salmonella risk. So yeah, they can see that it exists, it's there, but that's not how I'm going to serve it. And it's very much the same with the pasta. The sauce comes with the pasta, and we want to give the child the right amount of autonomy as to how much they want to put on. These children that I'm working with are extremely selective. And one of the issues that this mum has is that her kids really don't have a very high interest in food, which is unusual, and it makes this case much more complicated. Whereas most kids have an interest in food and they do want to eat, whereas some children, like this family, they'll just happily be like, oh, I just won't eat that then, and then they'll just wait till the next morning to eat, which is also not the ideal situation. So we want the way that we make this rule with the pasta and the sauce be effective is we need to give the child some autonomy, the appropriate level of autonomy. It's not that they can add like one little tiny drop, but it's how do we talk to them about what they can add and how to empower them to give something a try and what kind of sauce we're going to use. So there's a lot of nuances to this situation. It's not just you come down hard like a ton of bricks and you say, we're only having it with the sauce and that's how it works and you have to eat it this way. That's not going to be helpful to anyone. So what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of nuances to these situations, and it really does depend a lot on the child in front of you. And when I work with a client, so I've worked with hundreds of clients at this point, and many of them have had issues with having sauce with the pasta. This client is very unique in the sense that her children just don't have much of a drive to eat. And that's an unusual situation. So the way we have to approach that is different than how I've approached it with many, many of the other families that I've worked with. So a couple of things. I've got just a few minutes before I'm going to pick up my children. I do have I've got a client that is finishing up with me very soon, and I'm going to have space in my one-on-one practice to take on a new one-on-one client. So if you're somebody who's like, oh, that actually sounds like something that I need, normally I have a 3 to 5 month waiting list, but I've been working on a bunch of other projects that have kind of taken up a lot of my time and energy lately. So I do, like I said, I have an opening to start. If you're somebody who wants to do that, send me a private message, either on TikTok or Instagram. Say, hey, I came from the live. I'd like to book a discovery call with you. You can go directly to my website and book the discovery call. If you tap on the link in my bio and tap on the menu with the 3 lines, you can go work with me, and then it'll take you to my calendar where you can book a call, or flick me a private message and we can chat more there. The other thing is, if you're new and you've just kind of come across me, hi and welcome. I'm Talia. I'm a pediatric dietitian, and I specialize in extreme picky eating. I'm working on something that I've wanted to launch for a number of years. I just have not been in the space that I've been able to do that. But I'm working on a membership website which will give more families a lower barrier to entry, rather than like, yes, working with me one-on-one is going to get you the best results, and it's like the white glove service in terms of you have me all to yourself. But not everybody can commit to that in terms of finances or timing as well. So I'm working on this new membership. The waitlist link is in my bio. You can sign up and join the waitlist. There are some early bird perks for founding members when it does launch. I'm hopeful that it'll launch in the next couple of weeks. I'm still ironing out some kinks. It's very much something that I wanted to get done already. And I'm the type of person that is like trying so hard to get it done, but it needs to be done well and right. There's going to be a growing library of tools on there, video tutorials from me on, for example, how to work on the pasta and sauce. One of the topics that I've worked on, that I have in the membership when it launches, will be about mixed foods and helping children work towards foods touching each other. Nuances around like snacks and children wanting, like they skip their dinner and then they want a snack, so what to do in that situation. So this library is going to grow based on the people that are in there and the questions that get asked, and I will create new content every month for that. There's also going to be a monthly training call with me, like a mini coaching class, I guess you could call it, that anyone in the membership that month will get an invite to join, and you can ask questions in there. We'll do a training, and it'll be like, again, I don't mean to toot my own horn here, but nobody else is going to. I'm extremely dynamic when it comes to calls and getting across new ideas to help parents. So if you haven't joined the waitlist, go and do that. The link is in my bio. It should be the first thing that you see. Join the waitlist. Tara, I do work with children that have RFID. Please send me a private message. One of the things that I've just put on my, I haven't published this part of my website yet, but for the membership, is RFID and neurodivergent cases will do the best when you have individualized advice, because it is so specific to the child and it's a very complex area. So what I would say is it would still be of benefit to you to join the membership. However, if you know that you want to work with me, that would be the way that I would suggest we would approach things. If you've just found me and you're like, I don't want to work with you one-on-one, I don't know you from a bar of soap. In that case, joining the membership gives you an opportunity to see what it's like to be on a call with me, what some of my videos are like, my ethos and philosophy. So that's kind of where I would suggest starting. All right, Emma's got a good question, and then I've actually got to pack myself up and go pick up my children. Okay, so Tara, you've been following me for a bit. Maybe you can either go directly to my website and book a discovery call with me. Put your name on the wait list regardless. But I would definitely suggest either booking a discovery call with me or send me a private message and tell me a little bit about some of the things that you've tried. Have you worked with anyone to help your child before? Let me know how old they are and that kind of thing. Why do kids prefer one brand of nuggets but gag at trying any others? So Emma, I'm wondering, how old is your child? That is that brand specificity is extreme rigidity, and something that I work on with parents is flexibility. So a child being able to accept any kind of chicken nugget, regardless of the brand. Like one family I worked with, I started working with a couple of months ago. Their 4.5-year-old was literally only drinking milk and eating like smoothie pouches, and he would only eat them out of the pouch. He wouldn't, he wouldn't squeeze it out of the pouch and eat it in another way. And they had to be, it was a specific brand and like 2 specific flavors in the colors. And if it was anything else, he would refuse to eat it. So there's a lot of reasons why this can happen, and I'm not going to have time to go into all of them. You can flick me a private message if this, I would say that is most likely not the only issue you're experiencing. Sometimes what I see as a reason for gagging is that if a child's been kind of forced or pressured to try the food, yeah, it would make sense that they would gag on it because they don't want to. That's not always the case, but I would say that's very often the case. You can let me know if that's not the case for you. Some children have sensory issues or aversions where gagging is a thing and they've never been forced. Generally speaking, it's because they have been forced or pressured to try something, and that does cause them to gag. So once we remove that pressure, there's many more effective tools that we can use to help them try new foods without gagging. So this child that I mentioned that was only drinking milk and these smoothie pouches, we worked together for a month, and in that month, he branched out to eating an actual actual food, like legitimate actual food. He wouldn't eat at daycare. He was there within like 2 weeks. He was eating at daycare, not a ton. He was eating something, and he was becoming more and more confident with trying new foods. And at the end of that first month of coaching, he wasn't even asking for the smoothie pouches anymore, which is amazing. And he had gone from drinking like over 30 ounces of milk per day to drinking like less than a cup per day, which again is huge. Emma sending me a DM. Beautiful. Do that. I've got to go because I've got to go pick up my kids. If you had any questions, DM me, flick me a private message. You can go and book a discovery call with me if you're interested in coaching. If you want to get your name on the wait list for the membership website, go to my link in my bio and tap waitlist and go and put your name on that. Thanks so much for being live, and I will speak to you. I will probably be live again on Tuesday this week. Bye.